Yes, Starfire still causes absolute destruction, even though I know you might be thinking that there's no way Starfire is viable after it was nerfed a while back. But trust me, with the right fragments and the build that I'm about to break down, this exotic is still incredible in things like Grandmaster Nightfalls, especially in Season of the Wish with all the heavy focus on solar and the artifact. There's one key fragment that not many people use that is slowly getting more glory, and it deserves it. It brings this build into a position of dominance. And once you see how powerful that fragment makes this build, you're going to want to put this fragment on all of your team-based solar builds. So whether you're running the Cenotaph helmet, creating heavy for your team, or even running Phoenix Protocol to have more wells, this build for Starfire and playstyle I'm going to break down will make those builds even better. I'll get into all those fragments soon, but first we're going to be using the Polaris Lance, as this thing is incredibly dominant in Grandmaster Nightfalls this season, and the playstyle of Starfire and Polaris Lance blend perfectly well. Sit back behind cover from a distance, ignite everything from the comfort of safety. This exotic has been brought into the spotlight this season, not only because of heavy focus on solar and the artifact, but there's one special artifact mod called Kindling Trigger. This applies enough Scorch paired with Ember of Ashes, so that way your perfect 5th shot, every single one of them will cause an ignition. Normally it's every other perfect 5th shot that causes ignition, so the fact that it's every 5th shot is insane. So make sure to have that artifact mod on and that fragment paired with Polaris Lance for absolute destruction. Now while we're using Kindling Trigger, we're also going to use Flint Striker. That way those rapid precision hits with our Polaris Lance will make us radiant, but then allow Polaris Lance to scorch with Kindling Trigger. You really throw on all the nice solar artifact mods with this build. We got Torch, Heart of the Flame, Revitalizing Blast, and Raise of Precision, along with Wish into Being. This right here is the other fragment that's absolutely crucial to this build, and it will change the way you play solar builds forever. Ember of Benevolence. When you apply Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to your allies, you get increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short duration. It's about 6 to 7 seconds. And you can see the abilities fill incredibly fast. Now what's interesting about this and on Warlock is when you use your Healing Rift, when your allies are inside of that, it procs Ember of Benevolence. And one really cool thing about Starfire Protocol is that every single fusion grenade kill you get your Rift energy restored to you. Normally in the past, Starfire builds use the Empowering Rift, as when you get kills inside an Empowering Rift, it restores your grenade energy. But since they nerfed how much grenade energy you get back on damage, you switch to Healing Rift with Benevolence. It's insanely strong for Grandmaster Nightfalls. So every grenade kill, get your Rift back, look for a teammate, pop your Healing Rift on your teammate to proc Benevolence. Once I realized how powerful this was, I use this on my Cenotaph build and my Phoenix Protocol builds. One quick side note about Cenotaph, this season we do have new legendary trace rifles in the kinetic slot. This is the first time we've had legendaries in that top slot, allowing us to use things like Polaris Lance and an energy slot to take advantage of the solar artifact mods this season. So we have Ashes for the extra Scorch stacks to allow Polaris Lance to ignite more often, Benevolence, that way we pop our Healing Rift on our allies to get our grenades and all abilities back much faster. And now in case you do not secure the grenade kill to refund your class ability with Starfire, using Ember of Singeing is a great option since your class ability will recharge much faster just when you scorch targets. Not even defeat scorch enemies, just scorching them, which are grenade scorch, our melee scorches, our weapon scorch with the Kindling Trigger artifact mod. So we'll always have that class ability recharging much faster. Even if I'm standing inside my Well of Radiance, if I have my class ability up, I will pop it just to proc Benevolence again. Because even if your teammates inside of your Healing Rift or inside your well, you'll have to exit your well and enter it again to reproc Benevolence. But this way you're able to spam rifts more often to constantly be reprocking Benevolence. Now as of right now, I'm using Ember of Blistering. That way when I secure ignition kills, I get grenade energy back to me. But this one's sort of not always used because you don't always secure those ignition kills. So you could switch this out with something else that you would prefer. However, there are times where you will be chipping away at a champion, causing tons of ignitions and killing those adds surrounding them, and you will refill that grenade energy. So it is definitely nice to have. For aspects, of course, we're using Touch of Flame. This allows our fusion grenades to explode twice. And I'm using Icarus Dash just to get around quicker and get behind cover when needed. Really quick breaking down the mods, we're using Harmonic Siphon in the helmet, but it does seem kind of weird with the ignitions of Polaris Lance where it might not always proc, but we are also using Ashes assets with all those grenade kills we're getting to refund our super, and of course heavy ammo finder. Then Impact Induction, that way we shoot our melee, we'll get a little chunk of our grenade back to us. We're actually using 2 fire powers. There have been a lot of changes to mods lately if you haven't kept up. Basically there was a 10-second cooldown between every time you could create a orb with your grenades with firepower and mods like this. But it was updated recently. If you have 2, it cuts it down to 5 seconds, and 3 is 1 second. Since we're spamming so many grenades, we are running 2 of these to create more orbs. Use the resistances that fit the activity you're playing. Oftentimes I use a solar scavenger or whatever it is to match my heavy, especially if you're using a rocket launcher. Solar weapon surge to get that 10% extra damage on my solar weapons. Then recuperation is a personal favorite. Whenever you see an orb, run over that to get that quick healing for survivability. Powerful attraction whenever I pop that healing rift. If there are any orbs nearby, I will consume those to activate those mods I just went over. Then we also have Reaper and Bomber, which Bomber is nice since we're popping those rifts all the time to get a chunk of grenade energy each time. So if you're someone that's getting kind of bored of Sunbracers, definitely give this build a try. It's sort of the opposite of Sunbracers. As Sunbracers, you need to really get up close to those enemies, secure those melee kills to then spam your nades. This way you can stay back from a distance, chip away with Polaris Lance, and chuck your grenades when you have them. This allows you to play the support class with well. As mini GMs, it's nice to have a well, but oftentimes you'll actually secure more kills than your teammates, as you'll be blowing everything up with your grenades. So let me know in the comments what builds you're enjoying running this season. This build worked really well in Lake of Shadows. I'm excited to try it out in the other GMs coming the rest of the season. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and hopefully helped you out.